Hello, everybody. It's Mr. D at In the Middle of Mr. D1 at blogspot.com, and here I am. Sorry for the wrong turn. So, we're about to get on Facebook Live, and I am going to be focused on Facebook Live, and we're going to talk about holiday concert planning, execution, everything I can do to help and share some tips that I learned along the way. I will not be focused during this time on any comments on YouTube. I'm uploading it here live so that it just goes right into the stream. Hopefully it works well. This is a very low-tech operation. And you guys can look at this later. I'm going to be going for about 30 minutes, and I won't be looking at this screen hardly at all. I'm just going to really be focused on Facebook Live, answering the questions there, and delivering the information. This is for permanent archive purposes so people can find it in the future. So if you're watching, please don't be upset that I'm not acknowledging you on YouTube. I appreciate all of the followers here. Just want to make sure it's archived forever because Facebook doesn't do that. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so I got to start. All right, you guys enjoy. Hope it helps. Hello, everybody. It's Mr. D at In the Middle of Mr. D1 at blogspot.com. And this is my first of 3 Wednesday night October Facebook Lives here on my Facebook page. We'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll go as long as we need to go, but they usually go about 30 or 45 minutes. If you have questions, I'll certainly hang around. And I'll answer the questions after as well. I'll come back to the page over the next couple of days. So I'm going to wait for people to gather here and see who is coming along. And when you're here, you're certainly welcome to comment. I'm going to give you some information. As always with my Facebook Lives, I offer some things in my store on Teachers Pay Teachers, either a really strong discount or a freebie. And tonight we have both. So I'm going to show you really quick what that is. The mega bundle in my store is half price, $184.50. It's normally $369, so that's a great deal. You can let your friends know as well. And how to build your choral music program is free. It's normally $10, and it's got some great information in there that I gave when I presented in Iowa. About how I built my choral program. When I started, it was about 80, and then it's now around the 300 range, and some ideas and things to help you with that. But tonight, our primary oh, by the way, I posted that link to those things in my Facebook already earlier, and I will post it in this when I finish at the end of the comments as well, so you guys can go into the TPT store and grab those things if you want. All right, and then next Wednesday we'll be doing some different offerings as well. So everybody is in the middle of their planning of their holiday concert. I know I am. I've hit it full swing this week, big time. And I have been planning for a while now, and right now we're just in the execution phase and teaching phase. So I'm going to give you some information for those who are new about my choirs, because I don't know what you know and what you don't know. So as I said, I have about 300 students. I teach 3 grade levels, grade 6, 7, and 8. All the 6th graders are brand new to me, unauditioned. The 7th graders, about 70% had me last year. 30% have me new this year, first time in chorus. And then 8th graders are all experienced and have been with me for usually 2 years and sometimes just 1. So that's my layout of my choirs. And so far this year, I've done 1 mini concert that happened October 1st. I did a really small thing. I do it every year in my classroom by grade level, so the choirs have not actually mixed yet. The holiday concert is the first time that we actually mix all together. And so I'm going to tell you a little more information about my setup as well, so you can compare it to yours and make decisions that are best for you. My program is performed in a gym, the holiday concert. We don't have an auditorium. And so we do it in a gym. We have a cafetorium, but it's not large enough. The stage is way too small. So I made a decision based on my logistics to hold my concert in the gym several years ago. And so that's where we are. That's the situation. It's not ideal, but it's what we got. Next step I want to share with you is my selection of my music process. And I'm going to show you what we're doing. First of all, this time we are doing Almost Christmas. Andrew Lippa as our opener. I'm going to talk more about that. It has staging with it. I absolutely adore it. It's upbeat. I'm going to have my eighth graders are going to do some staging and dancing with that. Costumes as well. We always want to be upbeat in that first one. We're going to do Here Comes the Snow with my sixth graders. This is Teresa Jennings, Music K8. I absolutely adore this piece. The kids love it. It's so much fun. It's easy, and it's a great second piece to keep the energy up. My third piece that will be Carol of the Bells with my eighth graders. We do this every year. It's a tradition. And we change some of the other songs out, but this is one that the kids always want to do. It's a cappella, very familiar to most people who teach middle school. Oh, and by the way, I brought my Hydro Flask. If you don't have one, you need to get one. And I forgot my little scrunchie tonight. So sorry, I'm sure you all know about that if you teach middle school. And my boys will be after Carol of the Bells. They'll sing this. VJ Sing is an awesome arranger for the male voice at this age group. I'm probably going to raise the key a little bit because it's a cappella. My kids are seventh grade boys, and sometimes the pitches are a little bit low. But this is a cappella. I choose a cappella for them because of it is in the gym, and they can be heard way better a cappella. Talk a bit more about that. I make a lot of a cappella choices so the kids can learn to listen, work in different acoustical environments, etc. Also this year, I always do a seventh grade girl pop song, and this is what we're doing this year, Santa Tell Me. I'll tell you more about how we selected these songs soon, but we always do a pop song with them in the seventh grade girls. It's the only time we really get to do a pop song in the year because of how I've got my year planned, and they adore it. They love this one. It's got a great solo, and I've got a soloist I think will be awesome. My next piece will be That's Christmas to Me for my eighth graders. This is a new choice this year. They love pentatonics. We've been doing White Winter Hymnal. We're going to give that a shot. I have just three more. These last three are all performed together with all three choirs, the opener and the final three. This is Light Up the Tree, an oldie but goodie. I've used it forever. We do Lights Out. We have flashlights with the crepe paper, red, green, blue, white on the flashlights. It's black in the room. It's a gorgeous, fun little piece and high energy. And then I usually talk for just a few seconds, not much. We'll talk more about that later. We're going to do Silent Night, Greg Gilpin. It's 4 verses. First verse is solo German. Second is all the choirs, all 300 kids singing ooh, legato, melody only. Third verse is 3 parts. And then the fourth verse is sign language. It's gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it. It knocks the socks off, all right? This is Light the Candles All Around the World for our finale. This is Teresa Jennings again. We actually light real candles with the kids, and it is, I got a great solo at the beginning. It's sort of a poppy solo. It's a great way to end it. Now you see how short this concert is. That's about 30 minutes long. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I make those choices and how I made those choices. It really helps, sorry, I'm a little bit hung up here. Really helps, I want to really help you understand my reasoning for doing short but sweet, okay? So we do have some traditional pieces in there that we do every year. Those last 3 pieces are always the same. And then Carol of the Bells is always the same, but the others can rotate in and out. So I like to get my kids invested in the process. So I have a group of 8th graders, a special group. They love being in this group, and they help to pick the pieces. And they go to J.W. Pepper. I give them the resources, Music K8, the things that I like to get. I give them parameters, and then they go and listen, and then they present the ideas to me. And this year, you know, we found the That's Christmas to Me piece is brand new to me. The boys piece that I showed earlier is new to me. And so sometimes we end up keeping the same things, you know, like we've kept White Winter Hymnal for a while. But they were ready to move on, and so was I. I taught it plenty of times. But the opener is a really important high energy thing that they repeated something I did maybe 4 years ago, Almost Christmas, that Andrew Lippa piece, and I love it. So they are a core group of 8th graders that help me with a lot of things, including that choice. It really helps investment when you get them involved. So the next step for me, once we've chosen it, ordered the music, gotten it in, is that I want to show the kids, before I start teaching and getting into the nitty gritty, I want to show the kids the concert, and I want to let them listen to it. I want to talk them through it, what it's going to be. I want to give them a visual. So let me see if I can pull up here what I need to pull up to show you. On this particular day, the folders have been loaded. Yeah, here it comes. Hold on one second. The folders have been loaded. The kids pick up their folders for the first time, and they see this on the board, and that gets everybody pointed in the direction, right? And this is what I just went through with you. And on that day, I have them pull out the music and I play it and I talk about what you're singing by yourselves versus what you're singing with others. And they usually get so excited when I start talking about like the lights out for light up the tree and light the candle stuff. The solo things they're always fascinated by as well. So this is only 9 songs, as I mentioned, and we're going to talk more about that soon. But I love that day because they get so excited about starting to work on the concert music rather than just picking out a song and starting to work on it. They get excited. They see the end game. So we listen to everything. I have some visuals as well. I have some YouTube things of us doing some of the songs in the past, or I find a choir that is good. Sometimes I just play an audio of it as well. Just depends on what's available. Okay, so we do that first, and then after we do that, I start digging into the music. So yesterday was the first day that we started our music officially. We dug in there. Hello, I think that's Melissa Stouffer. You guys are welcome to comment, by the way. I'm not sure what I'll see or whatever. I have a whole plan here, but I'll get to it. So we started our music yesterday officially. And what I did was I started with Almost Christmas because everybody sings it. And I wanted, and it's going to be a hard one because it's got a lot of words. And here's how I introduced it. I found an ABA example on YouTube that was color coded to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I didn't let them see the visual, because it's a nice visual on YouTube. I turned off the board, and then I played the song, and then I drew, for the A, I drew a triangle. For the B section, I drew a square, and for the A section, I drew a triangle again. And I did it as it was playing through. It was short and sweet. And then I asked them what I was doing and why I was doing it. And then always in every class, even in 6th grade, they knew that I was drawing when the rhythms changed or the pitches changed, and they always described it. So it was good. They usually said it was pattern. So that kind of got their heads wrapped around that. And then we listened to Almost Christmas, and I asked them to draw their own patterns on their page. So I said, this is going to be way harder, but if you hear something that sounds like similar to a previous section, use the same shape, and you can vary it a little bit. Oh, good. I'm glad it's helping, Marie. That's awesome. So they listened, they drew their shapes, and they were a little bit like, especially 6th graders, because they'd never done it, they were kind of lost. They're like looking at each other's papers, and I said, don't worry, don't stress. I'm going to teach you how to listen, the way that I want you to listen. So I had already prepared my example. This particular song has like 12 different sections in my ear that I want to designate. And I'm not doing strict form or any of that. But I want to teach them to start to listen to form in the way that I need them to. So after they finished and they tried to do it, I asked them questions. And the question I asked first was, how many of you got more than 3 sections? And they all raised their hands. And the next question I asked was, how many of you had a section that occurred more than 3 times? And because there's a section that occurs 6 times in there, it's the main part. And they all raised their hands. So everybody feels successful, right? And then I said, well, how many times did that section occur? Anybody have 4? Some raise your hand. Anybody have 5? Some raise their hand. Anybody have 6? Some more raise their hand. And I said, that's what I got as well. And then I used that to segue into looking at my image, and I had triangles and circles and squares. I can't draw, so I used that, and then I played the song once again for them, and then I just stood at the board and I pointed to my sections as they came about. So they all were watching intently, right? So they're engaged, they're getting to hear the song again. They like the song, which is good. It's important to pick one they like, for that first one. And then after I showed them that, I said, all right, so when we dig into this piece starting tomorrow, we're going to focus on the triangle section because that's the way I represented the one that occurred the most. Because once we've got that section, we have half the song, right? So these are the ways that I presented it so that today I could go in and start to dig in on the main ingredients, the triangle section of this song, which is exactly what I did. So that gets them going because sometimes it's really difficult to introduce music, but that's a good way to get them started. So in my first 2 days of my holiday concert presentations, I've tried to do everything I could to get them excited and to keep them going because learning music is really tricky at this age. Now everybody knows I do sight singing, and and that's my thing, and I obviously want to reinforce sight singing with them through the songs. So we use solfege today when we were learning the songs to get the melodic patterns established. And then I did a little bit of diction work, and then they learned the main first triangle of the song. And so regarding sight singing, like on Carol of the Bells, which I'm going to present, my 8th graders I think tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to send them into the corner, give them the pitches and say, y'all figure it out and come back and let's sing it. That's how advanced they are at this point. Yeah, the form really helps Laura a lot. It helps so much, because they can. And then I did form with 6th graders on another song, Light Up the Tree, which is a way easier form to listen to, just so they can listen and start to get the stuff into their ears, It's not rote teaching, but it's important to help them to learn to listen and form. I'm not big on rote teaching, but I think we have to do a lot of listening and teaching to listen, and a lot of things to help them learn the songs before their sight singing ability catches up to their ability to really learn using sight singing, as my 8th graders are way more ready to do on certain levels of songs. So I'm going to move on and not get stuck up on sight singing because I can go on forever with that. I already talked about that. All right, so we did our form. Okay, so we're going to do similar form exercises with all the songs as I introduce them. Now, I have introduced Silent Night today, an exercise that I did. We did, especially for my 6th graders, we just sang phrase by phrase using solfege. Yesterday, we did that as well, and that was just to get the solfege and the melody into their ears. And then today, I asked the students, I sang like, sol, la, sol, mi, and they sing it back. And I sang sol, la, sol, mi. Are those two phrases the same? Yes, they are. Then I sang the next two. Are those two phrases the same? Yes, they are. Or not, or whatever. I don't remember the song right now in my head. But this way, they're still listening for form. They're listening for things, right? That will help them learn the song faster, and they're getting the pitches, and they're learning good tone because you're teaching them to echo the type of tone you're using. And when I sing with my 6th graders and treble, I sing in my high voice. So we're going to be doing that with a lot of the songs because I have a lot of music to teach, right? So today, another thing that I did, I don't know if you're using this or not, but I'm really a little stressed because yesterday I told the kids, we're always stressed at this time of year, aren't we, music teachers? And you can yes. Is getting as much done before Thanksgiving break as possible, right? So that's in my head. So yesterday, when we started digging into the music, I wrote on the board, these are our 3 goals that we need to accomplish before Thanksgiving break. Number 1, your music has to be memorized. Number 2, we have to have the soloist picked, and the solo auditions will be the first week of November. And then I will pick you that week. I'll pick one person from each class, and then I'll listen to those people sing in each class, and then I'll make the decision about the solo about a few days before, because and the reason I do that is because I want them to work their butts off. I want them to try to be better, because I find that if I announce who the soloist is too soon for the concert, they get complacent. Don't want to keep them working. So, and the third thing that I had to do, I forget what it is, memorize, pick the solos. I'll have to look through my notes, but there were 3 goals before Thanksgiving, and we're going to make sure they happen. The other one was we have to get the students ready because, as you know, if you were here at the beginning, we have 4 songs where the kids sing together in SAB, and I teach 6th grade the soprano part. I teach 7th treble the alto parts on the songs that we sing together. 7th boys and 8th boys sing the baritone. My 8th graders learn all 3 parts. So they have to get ready to all sing together, right? And that's not an easy thing to do. Now the songs that they sing as independent choirs, because I do have 4, and every one of my 4 choirs gets 1 song by themselves, they don't have to deal with that issue. But that's something that I want to make sure I plan for so that when we are not getting into a joint rehearsal and singing together for the first time, and I'll tell you how I handle that as well. All right, so today, in order to help get the music into them, I'm going to teach hard this week, and then maybe Friday or next week sometime, I'm going to. I've already uploaded all of the parts, like the alto part for Almost Christmas, the soprano part, all that stuff. I did a metronome version that was very slow so that there was no background track or anything, and they could just practice with that, work on diction, work on cutoffs, make sure they're breathing in the right spot, get the pitches right. And they can drill on their own, either in my class using their Chromebooks, or at home if they want, and a lot of them do that. I don't demand it, but it really, it does. I know a lot of them do it, and it helps the whole group become better. So I uploaded so much stuff today, so that we can some days differentiate and have the students come into class, and rather than working as a group, I send them with their Chromebooks into corners, and they can work alone or with 2 or 3 people. I give them very specific goals on those days, so that I'll say, like, okay, you have to work on the metronome version, the slow version of Almost Christmas, from measure blank to measure blank. And in your video that I included, it goes from the 5-second mark until the 20-second mark, so no time is wasted. So I'm going to get to your question. Let's see them popping, and I'm glad, and thank you for them. So that's a great way, using the Chromebooks, if you have this luxury, and Google Classroom, differentiating some learning, going around and talking to them in groups. I mean, I have classes of 84, and I don't get to know the kids, when I just am in front of them teaching all the time. We work too hard. We really do. Teachers, you know this, course teachers. We have to find ways to ease our workload, and with technology, this is one of the ways I do through the Google Classroom sometimes. And it's good for drilling because they can work at their own pace and go fast and memorize and clean it up a little bit. Okay, so I went through the goals that I set before Thanksgiving. This is really important because when we return from Thanksgiving, for my concert this year, which is December the 12th, we have 1 full week and then 3 additional rehearsal days left. So on the week before Thanksgiving, I have to do a voice memo recording of the different classes that are not used to singing harmonies with others, right? So my 6th graders are learning the soprano part. I make them sing with the 7th grade, girls who are going to be singing alto, for the parts that we're singing together, the songs that we're singing together. So the students record them maybe on Monday before Thanksgiving, and then maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one or more of the days, I can have the kids listen to the other classes sing, and then sing with them, so that we're already mixing. It's a simple, everything I do is so low tech, seriously. I do the easiest, quickest way. The sound quality is not always the best, but it keeps me from avoiding doing it, because all I have to do is do my voice memo, and then they can have what they need, and I have what I need. This prepares us for that first mass rehearsal, and with my students I have 300, right? And I have to be on point with those 300. I have to have everything in line. I have to have, before that joint rehearsal happens, when we come back from the Thanksgiving break, I will have picked the day and announced the day. It'll be a sing-through rehearsal, but I take care of everything. I give them charts of where to sit. I go through those charts so that they know where to sit. I've already handled, concert positions in their individual classes, so they know exactly who they're next to. They sing in the concert position, so that when they get to that joint rehearsal, they know exactly what to do, where to go, and then they're just ready to sing. I want the time that we have together to be absolutely efficient. Middle school students hate inefficiency. They hate wasted time. They are hungry to learn. And when we are slow, that's when the behavior goes crazy. So in that mass joint rehearsal, it's basically a sing-through. It's not in the space. We don't have the luxury of getting into our gym space more than once. So we sing together, and I do that. I try to do it several rehearsals, like at least 4 or 5 rehearsal days before the concert, so we have time to recap what that was like for them. We go back to class, we talk about it. Like, I'll probably do it on the Thursday 1 week before our concert, so that on Friday we can discuss What was it like for you to sing with the other kids? What did you hear? What were the parts that kind of fell apart because of the things that you heard? What distracted you? What made you look across the room? Because a lot of kids look for sound, especially young singers, sixth graders. They hear the altos, even though we've practiced in class with the voice memos. Sometimes they'll be like, because they hear it in a different way. They're either closer to the kids they're hearing and they're working with, or something that causes them to not watch you, which is not a good situation. So we had that first mass rehearsal, and now we're ready for the big day, right? And on the big day, I take over the gym. I'm fortunate that the gym teachers will give me that for the day, and I set up my gym on the gym floor. I have one side of the gym so that the parents can watch. We have about 1,200 people that usually come to watch. I set it up so that my concert can go boom, 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 boom without people standing up, filing in, filing off. I just think it's with this big of a program, that is a recipe for behavior issues. It's a recipe for a bored audience. Holidays are a very busy time. I don't use that particular concert as a way to teach filing on and filing off. We can talk about that when it's time for festival. So I set my sixth graders on the left of me, and they sit in chairs. I set my eighth graders on a set of risers in the middle, and I set my seventh graders on the right. My boys are between my eighth graders and my seventh girls, and so it's a semicircle. And so the parents are usually told by the kids, I'm a seventh grader, so sit over there. So they're they're already communicated to them about where to sit, so they see their kids really closely. And then I stand in the middle on the night of the concert, and I move myself. I pick up my little stand that I use, and I walk to the kids if the sixth graders are singing. And then I walk to the eighth graders when they're singing, and if everybody's singing, I stand in the middle. That way, it's boom, 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 and the concert is over in 30 minutes, and there's no waste of time. It's efficient. I start at 7 o'clock on the dot, and the first thing I do, of course, it's loud. I have 300 kids and then all that audience. I go, doo, they sing it back, and then I do Follow the Hand from S Cubed, and the students are singing, and then the audience starts to get quiet, and then they're fascinated by this process. Many say it's their favorite part, which I'm not sure how to take that. It's fine. But then we sing some scales, maybe in 2 parts, 3 parts, some chords, and then immediately I press play on the first track, if there's a track, or if there's an accompanist, I go, I start. And it's really important to do those things, like to have your stuff together. Like, I've been to concerts where people are fiddling with their music, or I've been to orchestra concerts where people are tuning things way into the time of the concert. These are things that we want to avoid doing. We want to be efficient so that people know when they come that this is going to be a good, very well run, tight ship. And that's what I try to do. So after the concert I talk very little in my concert. I don't even say hello at the beginning. That may seem rude to some people. But I wanted the focus to be the kids. That's why they are there. So we sing our first 6 songs, and then after the 6th song, which this year I forget, I had the order up earlier if you want to see, I thank them for coming. I talk about upcoming events. I talk no longer than 3 or 4 minutes. I tell them, that I would appreciate their help disassembling disassembling things so that the gym can be ready for basketball practice the next morning, and where to put things. And I just go very quickly, and they are super helpful and get everything undone so that the chairs are back in my room, the risers are back in my room, and it's really efficient, and that's what I do my best to try to do. And then I tell them the next song that the lights will be out, and then we sing the final 3 songs. The first one is very upbeat. I'm sorry. That's actually after Light Up the Anyway, so then the last 2 are Silent Night and Light the Candles All Around the World, which are very melancholy. But we go back to back to back to back with those songs, so that it's just a little roller coaster ride, and they end with their hearts full, I hope. Now, the last thing I want to discuss a little is regarding getting the parental help. that you need, because this is very important for me. The setup of the gym I can't do by myself, or with kids. So I usually send out a sign up genius in usually by the end of October to the parents using the email list that I have on Infinite Campus, which is our grading system. Sometimes I use Gmail because I've used that often in the past. And I just let them sign up, like, can you come in and help, move the risers in that morning? Here's the time slot, or move the chairs, or whatever. Try to be specific so they know how long they'll be there. I do hire a person for sound, so she takes care of that because I'm terrible with that. And I have a parent that does like the programs and other things. There aren't a lot of jobs on this particular concert, as I have a concert at the end of the year that has a lot more. But this kind of is a rehearsal for the concert that we have at the end of the year, the process. It's like a mini version of that. So I want as I mentioned, I want my concerts to flow like clockwork. Um, I, I just need that. I told you about the setup. Yeah, our concert does go song to song with great speed. I just move fast and walk around. Time saving things are really important. I think it saves everybody, helps everybody. They just want to go home and be with their families. They want to enjoy a concert, but they want to go home and be with their families. It's a busy time of year. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're aware that on YouTube channel, I have some holiday things, some little short video things about my holiday concert planning and stuff that have been up there for a few years. So if you go to the YouTube channel and you type in like holiday or winter, you can probably see my winter concert and see more about what I've talked about. You can also, maybe find some other ideas I didn't talk about here tonight. And I want to remind you guys that we are doing this for the next 2 Wednesdays. Next Wednesday, I'm talking about classroom management, which I know is a big issue for people, and it's something I want to help people with. And if you have new teachers, please let them know about that. The following week, I'm talking about boys. Aren't they special? Boys' voices, boys' discipline, all things boys. With especially 7th grade, because that's where I have a lot. I see those. I think appreciate your little loves and likes. I do want to remind everybody that for 2 hours now, I have the half price mega bundle. It will last 2 hours, and then you can go get it. Please tell anyone who you want to tell, even if they weren't here tonight. And then I have the free How to Build Your Choral Music program. It's free for 2 hours. And again, I'm here for the next 2 Wednesdays. Now, I'm just going to check here and see if there's anything. Hello, I see some of you who are here all the time, and I appreciate you so much. Angela Reed, Kylene, I think you're here all the time. Kelly, you guys, and I appreciate when you go on social media and you're talking about things and pointing people in my direction. I've been a little bit invisible lately because I don't know if you know, but I had a rotator cuff repair on my left side last year. That was a bad one. And on my right side, I had it 7 weeks ago today. And I'm doing great. I'm out of the sling for a week now. I'm happy. So I have been a little invisible, but my shoulders are great, and they're going to keep getting better. And I am going to be more present for you and teachers all around. And you help me when you tell me stuff and when you share ideas and I read what you've written. So I'm looking here at Becky's question with the songs lineup. How do you handle entrance and exit on risers? Now, I did address that. Maybe I addressed that after you were here, but I set them up in a semicircle and I don't do that entrance and exit. I want it to flow. Yeah, 300, Laura, that's a big one. How long is your joint rehearsal? Amy asks. I would say I'm in there no more than an hour and usually only 45 minutes because I treat it very much like the concert. I go back to back to back to back to back. So that they know what it's going to feel like. And then after we do the back to back to back to back to back, I address any train wrecks, right? Like on Silent Night, Greg Gilpin's Silent Night, if there are harmony issues, that's our only time to really dig into it. But if you've done your prep work correctly, if they know their parts really solidly, if you've done your voice memo work, it usually goes just fine. But sometimes they do need like to hear it a cappella, and just kind of focus on the stuff that might be a little more challenging for your younger singers. Okay, I see. I love the idea of opening with the S2 exercise. Yeah, absolutely. Getting the kids with follow the hand focused. You know, they're fast. The audience is fascinated to see it. The kids are fascinated to show it. They really, I mean, if you're teaching S cubed to your kids, um, they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're learning so much, and they have no idea that most students don't get what they're getting. And but they know when their parents are watching, their parents are completely quiet and usually get off their cell phones. Good morning for that, and watch what they're doing. Right. So this is good time to use some of your S cube stuff right in front of them. I appreciate Elizabeth. I see you all the time on Facebook, and appreciate all you people who support my work. Thank you. I appreciate you. I could not do what I am doing without teachers like you who talk about what I do, and it's you who has helped me get my name out there, get S cubed out there, and I appreciate you more than you know. Oh, Elizabeth had her first concert last night. Let me see if I can see more. Oh, it's not letting me do that. 30 minutes on the button. Yay. Don't worry about too short. Seriously, especially at the beginning of the year. And one of the reasons I didn't say earlier that I keep my concerts shorter is because I want to teach them literacy. And my S Cube lessons take 10 to 15 minutes a day, and I'm not going to abandon those. And I think the consistency of doing that is important to the language building that we're doing. And also the long-term payoff is just enormous, you know, with your seventh graders and eighth graders once they've done that year. Yes, I know, Elizabeth, as a parent, definitely appreciate a quick concert. Yes, I am doing well. I do have, actually, Sarah, I have some snippets of videos of my spring concert, but I don't, it's a fundraiser, and so I don't put the entire concert up on YouTube. However, I do have a couple of them on private, and if you want them, just email me at inthemiddleofmrd@gmail.com. It's a fundraiser, so I mean, like, I just, you know, I don't want to, like, anyway, I feel like it's best. So, but I'm happy to share an individual link with you. Okay, so Elizabeth, you asked a great question. What about behavior while other groups perform? Well, before the concert, I lay down the law and I talk about. We have already talked about concert etiquette in the first concert. That was last October the 1st. We talk about what that concert etiquette is. And in the joint rehearsal, I always make a big deal about if I have to send a kid out, I say to the kids beforehand, I tell them before, if I send you out of this rehearsal for behavior, you're not singing the concert and you will get an F. Questions? You know, I'm very clear. And then I usually have to send at least one kid out of the joint rehearsal early. And once they're gone, those kids are like, you know. And then I do have a heart. I will talk to the kid one-on-one and find out what was going on, you know, because it could have been something I saw. And then sometimes the decision stands, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, if they are contrite, you know, I'll again lay the law. Like, you come in and you do anything on that concert, and you're definitely failing, and your parents can't do anything to undo that. And I'm gonna send them an email to let them know that. Okay, so that when you set up those parameters, that helps. The other thing that helps is when you have the concert back to back to back to back to back, fast paced. The kids usually are totally interested in what's going on. It's when we have those long pauses between that you're going to have to turn around and look, and that is not comfortable for anyone in the room. And it's usually just going to make these little lovely middle schoolers want to do something worse, you know? But you are going to have an occasional situation that you've got to handle. It's rare in my current stage of my career. I've learned what to say ahead of time to prep them well. And I've learned how to keep the pacing fast enough that usually I don't have that situation. But if you, at a minimum beforehand, you must teach concert etiquette, you must teach what's expected, you must tell them what the consequences are if they don't follow them. And also you must, I make a big deal, because this is our first night concert, of teaching before the concert, like a week before. This is your concert grade. If you don't come, this is what, without an excuse, this is what happens to your grade, and you have to decide what that's going to be. If, you know, these are the acceptable excuses: death in the family, right? Illness with doctor's note. And then other things are really not excused, like transportation issues. You've known about this for weeks, months. So plan, like, and I've already told them those things so that there's really not a lot of room for them to do anything, other than that, other than be there. And of course, there are going to be some, especially with the young kids, the sixth graders, that don't come. They don't recognize the difficulty. I usually have like three or four that don't make it. And sometimes it is, a situation of transportation. With sixth graders, with the older kids, they know, like almost always have 100% seventh and eighth grade participation. But with the younger kids, different situation. And you have to kind of case by case it, And I do give makeup assignments to some of them in those instances. So I think that's about everything. And I'm going to wrap this thing up. And I hope to see a lot of you next Wednesday. Remember that the Mega Bundle is 50% off for 2 more hours, and that How to Build Your Choral Music Program is free in my store until 2 more hours from now. So go get it. Let your peers know. You guys, thank you again, and I'll see you next week. All right, take care. And thanks on YouTube Live. See if I can figure out how to turn this off. Yeah.